What's going on, guys? So for today's video, which might actually happen more frequently because I might actually have fun here, I have a guest, Hayden on, who's been a longtime friend in the agency space for what, 4 years?
Yep.
4 years.
Since like
So this is
2018.
no newcomer stuff, a lot of experience. So we're just going to talk SMMA agency game, and really just see where the discussion goes. Hayden, what's your agency? What's your niche? Just real quick so everyone gets a quick.
Yeah, really quick. Nice to meet everyone. Jumping on Stevie's YouTube channel here. Just created one as well. Now I've known Stevie for a long time, like you talked about. My agency, it's called Jump Forward Media. We specialize in medical spas and body contouring. And yeah, a little bit about us is we have a full done for you system, and we help our clients obviously get more booked appointments, but primarily we're a coaching educational company as well. So there's a lot more to it than just booking appointments, booking leads, generating leads. So all that stuff we're going to get into today. But yeah, it's a little bit of background on me, and obviously you guys know a little bit about Stevie. If you don't, maybe I'm gonna post this on my channel. So Stevie, talk a little bit about yourself, DigitalOx, and maybe some of those awards behind you, huh?
Yeah, so I run DigitalOx. I started probably a little over 5 years ago in my apartment from my underwear with a laptop. Came across a Ty Lopez ad a long time ago when I was making juices and smoothies. Had no money, was pissed off. Figured that I could figure this SMMA thing out. Obviously, I did, but we're in the medical space. We're in the high ticket Cairo space. We're basically a full service agency. I mean, we've come a long way. We were number 380 fastest growing companies on the Inc. 5000 in 2022. 95% of our growth has come from word of mouth and referrals. We're just starting to pour into paid ads at the beginning of this year because obviously we've got some big goals that we can talk about. But overall, yeah, the journey's been quite intense, very difficult, but life's good. So
Good, man. Well, we have a couple topics that we want to talk about today, and that a lot of people are talking about. And so one of the biggest ones that I wanted to first start off with and ask you, Stevie, is like, what's been the biggest lessons of 2022? Like, I know you made the Inc. 5000, which is incredible. Obviously, like, huge difference there in terms of just the ClickFunnels plaque that everyone has. Like, Inc. 5000's really the real deal. So
yeah.
talk a little bit about your biggest lessons of 2022 and more on that.
Yeah, so great topic. So 2022, obviously it's January 14th. Obviously 2023's already brewing, we're ready to go. But for 2022, what I realized, especially as a team, the biggest lessons I learned is at our scale of an agency, when we're north of 150 going towards 200 clients, is two levers. The two levers that are most important for our entire company to pour into was, one, increasing value to increase price point, and also to lower churn as much as possible, which is basically retention. So when you get to the level where you have, let's just say 150 clients, a 5% churn on that is a decent size amount of clients leaving out the back door every single month. And so your inflow and your efficiency on the front end in terms of acquisition needs to be very effective. However, what we've realized is it's easier to plateau in the multi-7-figure arena if you don't increase your price or you don't lower churn. Because if you put all this energy on bringing in new clients, but you're not really putting a ton of energy in reducing churn or increasing your price, you kind of get in this hamster wheel type environment. And we haven't got there yet. I mean, in 2022, we literally grew 120%. And I'm talking net profit. So this is our 5th year in a row growing over 100%.
Yep.
Just feeling the landscape of things and how things are going to look like in 2023 and beyond, which is what we typically do as we forecast, is we realize how can we get our average price point to 3,500 retainer? How can we reduce churn, which in 2022 we had a 5.3% churn? How can we get it to a 4%, which is massive? So in 2023, which kind of rolls into the biggest lessons in 2022, is we're striving to bring churn down even lower. So from a 5.3 to a 4. And we're adding some strategic chess moves in 2023 to get our average price point from, it's about 3,100 right now, to north of 3,500, which makes our need to have more it lowers the amount of clients we need to get to 10 million a year. And that's kind of like the game we're playing right now.
Love that. And I want to talk more on the topic of churn. And let's dumb it down a little bit, just in case, some people are a little less aware if they're just getting started in the game. It's all about retention, right? And retention means retaining your clients. Now, I feel like your agency is extremely good at it. One, because you provide really good results, but go into a little more about like what increases retention. It is a relationship game. You have to have good relationships. Communication has to be there. So talk about, how your company's been able to implement those things to increase retention.
Yeah, so retention is one hell of a strategy. I think, to be honest, the entire organization needs to be pretty much focused on churn, other than like maybe a few individuals who are on the front end bringing in new clients, but churn is everything. And what we've realized is retention is broken up into two things. So it's results, which is basically understanding what KPIs are you judged on? What are you being hired on? What are you being fired on? You need to understand that. So like for our agency, we're judged on appointments through the door and revenue. We're hired on our ability to bring appointments through the door and revenue. And we're also fired on our inability to bring appointments through the door and revenue. So the first part, the foundation of retention of the entire agency, to be honest, is results and the KPIs that your clients give a fuck about. The second part, which is almost just as important, right up there, I'd give it 48%, results 52%, is the experience your clients get working with your agency. That relationship building, trust, the knowledge gain that they're getting from working with you guys, them knowing that you actually give a shit. Like, you can tell we're not stupid. You actually give a shit. You're always striving for the best experience. You have really good, effective communication. You're fast in terms of making strategy changes, implementations, and you're always trying to upgrade their IQ by working through you. So it's results and experience. It's just that simple. Those are the two levers.
How I like to think about our agency and how I structure it, and when I do my success call, if you will, is I strategically try to put a mindset into the client, like, hey, this is the point where you can go back. Like, right, we don't have to move forward at this point. We haven't launched anything. I want to make sure that you're a good fit. And so for that reason, we're going through all these different things in our program and what you need to do on your end to be successful. We have these coaching programs. We have these sales training courses, all these different things. We're going to get you the appointments through the door, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. And we're going to put everything in front of you. But if you just sit back and wait for appointments and think that, you're just going to magically sell people without any prior knowledge, or that you can't train your team on this as well, then you're going to lose out on a whole bunch of what our program has to offer. Because number one, we're not an agency. We're your growth partner, right? I want to make sure that you get the best possible results. And that's exactly what you're talking about. And that really does come down to communication. Like, people can tell in an instant. I've had some bad account managers. I'm sure you've had bad account managers, and they can ruin some pretty big relationships if they're not handled correctly. So for example, an ad's tanking, it's going down the drain. Like, what do? Do you go to the client and say, hey, I don't really know what's happening. I'll get with the team and come back to you with a solution. No, what you want to do is be quick on your feet. And before that call even starts, you know everything that's going on with that client's accounts, and you have a solution to present them. Hey, I'm being open and transparent. I see that these results aren't the best. We already have an ad going that we just need to turn on. That's this offer. I highly recommend it. 20 other clients are using it, getting really good results. I know it's going to work for you. Let's implement that and be quick on our feet. Right.
Yeah, that's savage. Like,
Yeah.
listen to what Hayden just said. So literally the account management position is identifying, and obviously by tracking data, understanding where your clients are at and addressing potential issues before they become big issues, before they contact you regarding the issue. That's the last thing you want. That means you're not proactive and that you don't really give a fuck, or your systems, processes, checks and balances are terrible. And so you need to be coming direct, business to business, growth partner to growth partner. This is exactly what's happening, right? This is exactly what we're going to do next step. And you can even have your next game plan after that. So if this doesn't work in the next 10 days, we're immediately going here, such as we're doing a niche swap, or we're doing a complete offer swap, or we're completely changing the landscape, changing a variable to get it back to where it needs to go. But it's proactive, effective strategy that they're hiring you for. And so it's a huge part of
So Stevie, imagine if you hired me to get you more appointments for your agency. So agency selling, right? And so I'm saying, you know, on average, we bring like 10 to 20 demos for you. And we meet every 2 weeks. Does that sound good? He's like, yeah, cool. We meet 2 weeks later and there's no booked appointments, right? We hop on the call. I'm like, hey, Stevie, how you doing? How's everything going? He's gonna be like, well, fucking bad. Like, you haven't brought me anything. Whereas if I would have gone to him in the first couple days and been like, hey, Stevie, what I'm noticing is this campaign, it really isn't, you know, starting off the way I want it to. I think there could be a couple things going on with like the industry. I think we pull the money back. I'm going to give you a refund, and I'm going to wait till I know a really good, you know, time to get in the market. Right. And just like that, I gave him his money back. And this is something a little more strategic, but like, just think about this. He's trusting me now because I'm like, hey, right now isn't the best time. This isn't working. I'm going to give you your money back. And I know that 2 weeks from now, the market's really going to hit because X, Y, and Z is coming up. Let's attack it full circle then. Now, it's a little higher level strategy, but it makes sense.
So this is an important part where I want to factor in what retention is. So retention is results and experience. And so since it's almost a 50-50 important level, in a case where, for example, there was a 20 demo expectation and there was 0, and you show up on the call with 0 communication prior hand, knowing that there's 0, that experience is shitty. That's like the terrible experience for the client, because what if the previous week the client is just scratching his head saying like, man, like, where are these demos? Or like, honey, should I, like, partners, whatever, should I reach out to him? Should I wait? Is he going to reach out to me? So now his experience, not only not getting results, but his experience and his interpretation of you as someone, as a consultant, is becoming annoying. He's starting to build resentment. Whereas, let's just say there was 0 fucking results, but on day 4, Hayden was so proactive, letting him know X, Y, and Z is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. So he knows the results aren't there, but this agency is so proactive and cares so much and is going so much the distance that I trust them that they're going to figure it out. And so instead of doing a refund, Hayden, which we would never do, we're more into like, look, and we say this all the time, like, if we can't do it, no one can do it. So right now, this is your market. This is what's going on. We are going to figure this out. And at the end of the day, we're going to be as transparent as possible. We're going to have the best sort of strategy to put forth towards your clinic. And our type of clientele appreciates that more than anything, because at the end of the day, where they're going to go. And that leads to step 0 before retention, is bringing on the right client for your agency. So
Success call. Do you guys have a success call, or like a type of onboarding call where you walk them through like expectations of your entire program?
Yeah, so we're already going over expectations on the sales call.
Okay.
We're going over goals, expectations on sales call. We go deep in that initial call. And then on onboarding in that entire call, we then go over expectations and yeah, I guess the answer is yes. Pretty in depth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, because just so if you're an agency and you want to, have a quick way to increase retention on the front end, have an onboarding call, make sure you get all the information. That is just back end, making sure that everything is set up properly, all information is given. Sometimes if you try to automate the process and you just try to get everything through a form, you're not going to get everything that the client wants to get across with their brand, with everything. So you might as well have an onboarding call, 30 minutes to an hour to get all that information. And then I go a step farther is the next day, I actually hop on a success call with them and I walk them through a PowerPoint of all the expectations and give them an out. Say, hey, this is the client we want to work with. If you're not this, then we don't want to work with you. And that's just me being completely honest. But if you are serious, you do want to grow your business to multiple 6 and 7 figures, then we're the agency for you because we've done it time and time again. And if that's not you, no worries. Like you only put down a $500 deposit to get started. We charge them on the day that they actually go live. So for that reason, I give them the out. And
Yeah.
I feel like that builds transparency too, because it's like, listen, these are the people that we want to work with. If this isn't you, let me know now. Because sometimes the sales guys don't know. I know you do most of the sales calls yourself, Stevie, but if you have somebody else doing sales on your team, there's a lot that can get lost in translation. People sometimes sell not a false dream, but they hype stuff up, right?
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think that's important. But I know we're going on to this topic a little long. So do you want to wrap up a couple things? So let's summarize biggest lessons of 2022 in 3 points.
Biggest lessons of 2022 for our agency, where we were at, was focus by building even more value so that we can increase the price point, which means we need an overall less number of clients to hit our next goal, which is 10 mil a year. And churn also putting all the efforts in reducing churn through adding more value and increasing price point. That whole scenario there of improving the product to increase the price point and to also decrease churn is far more important. I think at all stages, but especially when you start to scale to the higher number, is far more important than, hey, our Facebook ads to get more clients and outbound emails and bringing all these clients. Because if you bring in a bunch of clients and your shit sucks and you lose clients, you're going to just plateau a lot earlier anyway. So,
well, yeah, and people are going to talk shit,
Yeah. Your brand
Like-
equity will get washed out over time.
Yeah.
100%.
So, okay, I love that. Biggest lessons of 2022. Give us your starting revenue for that, and then your finishing revenue from January to December.
So from January to December. So in 2022, I think we finished at what was it? 2.5, something like that. 2.5. In 2023, we ended with right around 4.5. However, our profit margin and our net was super healthy. So we're basically, our EBITDA for 2022 was a $2.3 million EBITDA, so profit. And it's continuing. It's a big focal point, obviously in the agency space. Revenue is revenue, but profit is profit. And at the end of the day, we're in this to make money. And so, we're continuing to scale and we're continuing to even be more efficient on profit, which is super awesome.
Yeah. So that goes into my next point. Let's talk about kind of the facade in the agency space about being a 7-figure agency, being a 6-figure agency owner.
Yeah.
Like you could have 5 clients, $2K a month, right? And that $2K a month includes ad spend. So you're really not even at you're really not a 6-figure agency at that point, because nobody talks about profit in this industry. I think
Yep.
it's kind of something people are scared of. You're one of the biggest lessons that I learned with that, because I came to you a bunch of times last year and the years prior and be like, dude, I'm so pumped. This is how much we're making. And you're like, yeah, but that includes ad spend. So you're really not making that much. And I was like,
Yeah.
shit, you're right.
Yeah. So this is important because obviously there's a lot of like, it's just not, I think the important part here is a lot of people are, it's like an ego thing where they want to be this, and this, or they're trying to like, I don't know. It might be an ego thing, whatever. But I think the problem with it is at the end of the day, you know how much time you're putting into this, and you know how much money you have, and you know how much money you're making, and you know what you're trying to do with your life. And so you can't fake that part. And so I think it's super important for anyone listening to this call, never put ad spend into any of your numbers. It's like, just don't do it, because it's delusional. It's very delusional.
It is. Yeah.
100K a month agency, but 50K of that is inclined ad spend. That doesn't even make sense. Like, if private equity or any sort of acquisition was looking at you to buy you, they're looking at what you're actually really doing. What's your real revenue? What's your real income?
Yeah.
Not so. I don't know.
Huge point. I love that. I think you addressed it perfectly. Don't lie to yourself, right? Who are
Don't
you
lie.
lying to? You're lying to yourself.
Correct.
Now, another topic I want to come across, because I think, obviously, maybe I might be more involved than you in terms of looking at other people in the industry, in terms of like watching different people. What do you think about this Thomas Gannett kid who's just blowing up on YouTube? I know you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Tell me about your thoughts with him, because he's super young kid. People seem to be jumping on board.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? Because he's so new to the game. So yeah. Talk about it.
So first off, I thought his videos were hilarious. Like, I legit started laughing.
Yeah.
Like, legit. I was like, holy shit. Maybe he's super good at editing, and he's good at like putting like the parody together, like the comedy together. I was fucking dying for a second. I was like, holy shit. Another great fucking thing he's doing that I just realized is, through his viralness and through his content, he's exposing more people to what SMMA and agency is, which is kind of like how I got in the game. Like, Ty Lopez in the beginning was like 10K a month agency, get 10 clients at 1K. He fucking blasted it. It hit me. I didn't know what the fuck that, and now where I am now. So I think the benefits of Thomas Ghana is, one, it's funny. I thought it was funny content. Through his efforts or whatever he's doing, he's exposing more people to the agency model, which, if you are a fucking G and you stick to it, you can build a multi-7-figure income, net profit, not revenue, net profit, right? Talking profit. It's possible through this. So he's exposing more people. However, I would take a lot of like the strategy material just all with a grain of salt. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's, I don't know, doing $10,000 or $20,000 a month in his agency, which,
it's good for his age. Yeah, it's good for his age.
Yeah, he's also young as shit. He's young as shit. But I would be very wary about people coming into the space or in this space who are trying to build a real agency, because he doesn't have a real agency. They don't have real agencies. Like, real agency is you understand the team aspect, you understand product market fit, you're well into the to me, I'd say at least 7-figure. Before you're training anyone how to do shit, you should be at least in the multi-7 figures. And I think at least netting near that 7-figure amount net profit. So just take everything with a grain of salt. He has a long journey ahead of him. That's all I got to say.
I think what he's doing that's super smart is, I feel like he's probably making more with Go High Level affiliate than he probably is with his agency. Based off that, I think he's a really smart kid for that.
Yeah.
I mean, just The amount that you can make off YouTube too, once you have affiliates and like being transparent,
Mhm.
is probably a lot. So
Yeah.
I think that's a cool piece. Now talk about maybe some of the other YouTubers that he's exposing, which I think is super funny too, part of his content.
Mhm.
Like literally just blasting people, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
So I
And
learned about a lot of them through his videos. Like I didn't really know who they were before. That Hens kid, that kid has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Like he is, he just needs to like stop. Because you can just tell, like for me looking
yeah,
through the lens, I could see there's zero like real proof on what he does. Zero team, zero company, zero value. Like it's just, yeah, I would stick to actually building a real agency and get off YouTube. For the other guys, Jaime or whatever,
who is this hype man?
Jaime,
I don't know
the
who that is.
one of the other guys. I really don't know what agency he runs. You know, like I think when you take advice from people, for example, I run digital ops. You know, you
Yeah,
can go on A5000, you can see our name listed on the top 380. We've had over 1,600% growth in the initial 3 years, and then we just hit another 132% growth off of last year.
yeah,
Um, we have a real team. We have 28 employees. We offer 401k. We have health insurance. Um, we have an org chart. We provide real value. We literally, our returns in millions for our clients is way up there aggregate. So when you come into the game, realize, what do you want? Because if you want to build, you want to make multi seven figures in income, and you want to be that guy, and you want to have that type of lifestyle, you're going to need to build a real fucking company that has a real team, real leadership. You're going to need to know so many aspects of business. It's not just how many clients can I get and da 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 da. Like that's gonna get you to like a small level, and you'll end up getting wiped out if you don't adapt.
yeah, exactly. There's so many levels to the business, right? You can get so caught up in these different things, client acquisition, results, knowing your finances. That's so important. You can be burning through money with some software trials that you signed up for, which I've done plenty of times, and look back and be like, fuck, just saved like $20,000 a year by canceling all this shit that I had no idea about. Right. And so just so many different aspects. And when you grow bigger, like Stevie is, you create leverage. And when you have leverage, now you can trade time for money, hire badass people, and
Yeah,
people that are better than you at certain things. Like, for example, Stevie knows business a lot better than I do. However, I feel like I'm better than him on the back end in terms of softwares. That's just kind of my thing, is I'm more of an operations guy. So what I'm trying to take from Stevie is like being less of that and being more business focused, because I actually have a lot of fun doing the back end stuff and doing all these like little automation things. And that's what I'm trying to learn from him, because his mindset, how he runs his business, how he looks at numbers, how he knows all the numbers that he has off the top of his head. Like honestly, I don't even know most of the stuff that he's talking about in terms of, for my business, like what's my overall growth. I know we've had growth since we started, but I don't know the numbers exactly. So I
mm-hmm.
think that's a big learning process too. Like as you level up, your mindset changes and the people that you hire changes, and you can start to really focus on the direction of your business.
Just to give people context, what was your revenue in 2020
2022, like
22?
revenue, or just, are
Like
you
what?
talking not
Like
ad spend included, right?
not ad spend. What was rev? What was profit? What did
Yeah.
that look?
So I profited 200K,
That's
which was all right. And I would say
good.
the numbers get messy in terms of ad spend mixed in there because we collect
Yeah.
it together. So it's kind of hard to decipher. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
our biggest month was 80K service fee. Um, and it was probably the whole time somewhere between 40K service fee to the 80K range, different months going up and down depending on different services
Yeah.
that we were trying to offer. A lot of times what we find is the problem in my industry, switching from body contouring to more med spa, we find out that our retention rate with med spas is a lot better. Number one, they have more money. And the body contouring clients that just they're in like a salon, right? They have a room in a salon and they're banking on us for their entire business. So I kind of pride myself in that. It's really cool. I'm able to help small businesses, grow. But the second we turn off marketing, they're done. Like they can't sustain because they don't know how to get new clients. And that's not necessarily a relationship that you want, right? You want to be with someone that has money for marketing, that regardless if you have a bad month or not, can come back to you because of the relationship that you created. So those are my numbers for this year.
Yeah, I mean that's solid for everyone watching this. I mean, 200K in net profit is like that's legit income,
and that's again team of 10. That's after paying everyone. So net profit that isn't.
How old are you?
I'm 26. That doesn't include the money you pay yourself every single month. So everyone on my team has a salary, right? I have a salary. So that's 200K after everyone gets paid, softwares get paid, everything like that. I just wanted to clarify that in case people didn't know.
Yeah. So you're paying tax on 200K.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to understand is like he's paying tax on 200K. I'm paying tax on 1.9 million. That's my salary. I already have a salary in the company that's $150,000 a year salary. All the trips, all the things we do, all the things we add that have nothing to do with like the company are all add-ons that are your real EBITDA numbers, which is what PE and these firms are looking at when you become a player in the space that they're looking to acquire. And kind of going on that note, I'm in the game of building a real asset that I can sell if I want to with a snap of a finger, right?
Yep.
And when you change from like lifestyle, this like little SMMA game where you don't really know team and product stuff like that, you switch over here, you realize you're building a goddamn asset. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I highly recommend everyone go that route. It's one, you're gonna learn a lot more, and two, you're gonna wish you did do that from the beginning because one day if you want to sell it and it's easy to sell and you put it on the market, you can sell it in 2 to 3 months versus not being able to sell your agency. I think that's terrible, and that's just lack of preparation.
I have some advice for people. So how I got started and how I was able to sustain even with bad months and good months, especially in the beginning, was having money to start off with. So I know not everyone has that luxury, but I came in with 25K that I was like, this is staying in the business regardless. And not that it was necessarily needed because profit was already coming in the beginning, but it was an assurance for me that I was like, no matter what happens, this 25K is staying in here for when times get rough because I'm not giving up, right? So that was part of my mindset all the time. I never really take money out of the business savings. Like I just let that shit stack up because I know that X, Y, and Z agency is going down if they have a couple bad months in a row, and I'm chilling because I can pay the team with my savings and we're going to keep moving forward. So I think resilience is huge, right? There's going to be times where you want to quit. I've wanted to quit like 50 times. Clients hitting my phone up at like 5 a.m., like waking up to like 40 messages, and you're just like, damn, is this shit worth it? But it is. You just have to overcome certain things. Can't be a little bitch. And that's really it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing is like this is so many people get weeded out after the 6-month mark, the year mark, the 2-year mark. I think what I really value in an entrepreneur and anyone in the SMA community who's running an agency, bro, show me 3 years of tax return growth, of significant growth over a 3-year period, meaning you have gone through the cycles of shit that's been thrown at you within your niche and your industry, and you have had the character and the will-how to develop systems to get around your problems, and you continue marching forward. And that shows way more about someone over a 3 to 4 year, 5-year period than someone posting, hey, I did 100K a month, or hey, this year I did this, and that's kind of my challenge to actually Thomas Gannett is great kid, smart kid, My advice to him, if he was ever asking for it, is, dude, fucking dial in on how are you going to keep that growth that you started now, which is absolutely incredible, or whether in the agency or whatever it is. But how are you gonna maintain, not only maintain, double, triple, 5x that over the next 3 years? So that's where the game's at, because we don't want to just make some money right now, because then you need money later. We got a long way to live, right? We got a long way to live, and the way I see it is, shit, like, really become financially free. Like, that's the game. Let's get really financially free. Like, let's make a lot of money.
Not just like travel around the world with your laptop, like doing this and here and making 6-figure income. No, let's really make some money. And that's kind of my thought process too. It's a long-term play. If you're in it for the short-term play, you're gonna get ripped apart for sure. 100%.
X.
So let's go into lifestyle a little bit, because we're already talking about that. Let's talk about the fake lifestyle that gets portrayed. It's not necessarily fake. Obviously you can have a lot of freedom when you own your own business. You can kind of schedule out your days.
Yeah.
But if you take advantage of that, you're going to feel it. So talk about your experience with that, and kind of, I know Stevie's like a real grinder, like every single day he's dialed in, he's working on himself. He's trying to become a better person. He's really in tune with his fitness, with his growth as an individual. But we've all gone through ebbs and flows in terms of, wanting to have fun, getting burnt out, stuff like that. How do you handle the lifestyle? And before you go into that, talk about the lifestyle that's being portrayed.
So be a little bit, I'm trying to like understand.
Lifestyle that's portrayed online. Like you get an ad, it's like, hey, I want to make $10,000 a month, have the freedom to go travel, whatever. It's a sales pitch, but same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 2 routes you can go. And this is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. You have to make a decision whether you're going to build a lifestyle business, which is kind of like that business where you can get away with traveling and doing this, and you're making 50, 60, 70, 100K a month. Very lean team, X, Y, and Z. You can pull it off, but it gets to a point where when you get burnt out 3-4 years later and there's nowhere else to travel or whatever, you have nothing to sell. Like your company is worthless. You might get maybe 1 times EBITDA, which is net profit, but you've basically, that's a problem. So what I see is they're sacrificing the future of being set to do this thing now, versus if you choose enterprise, which is building a real asset and going that route, you realize all that traveling and all that dance and show is like, it's doable, but you have to be strategic with it, because it takes so much time, learning, infrastructure to build a real company. So the way to get around it is, let's just say 9 months out of the year, you're pretty damn in it. You're solid. And then like a quarter out of the year, you're still super on it, but you still have that ability to like travel and enjoy yourself. But that whole like, I'm traveling here and I'm doing this, and it's like, does that guy even work? Well, he does work, but it's like he's just finessing his way to an income that is eventually going to die out, and at the end of the day, he's going to realize he never had an asset. And I don't know.
If that's what you want to do, that's a short-term play. That's what we're trying to get to the point here. That's a short-term play. If you're in it for the long haul, how I like to think about it. I read a book called The One Thing, really good book. It talks about obviously just like focusing on a couple big tasks a week and making sure to knock those out. And that's going to move the needle forward, rather than stacking your plate with a bunch of little tasks that obviously need to get done, but that aren't the most important things. And one of the big things that's talked about in that book is plan your work around your vacations, not the other way around. So like, I'm sitting here January 14th. I'm going to plan something for May 1st. And if I do not hit my goal before then, I'm not taking the trip. And it's like, it's a week trip. I'm going to grind my ass off to try to hit that goal. If I don't hit that goal, then I'm not leaving for a week. Right. And you got to be honest and real with yourself. And you start planning like that. And you say, I'm not doing anything besides this right now until that. It's going to make that process so much more enjoyable. You're not going to feel like guilty. I know we've all felt guilty for doing certain things when you have a business. It's just it just happens. Like if you go out and drink with your friends, you're going to feel guilty because like the next day's shit. Right. So I don't know if you vibe with that, Stevie.
No, I think that's a high level of discipline and that sort of structure and determination is absolutely amazing. I do also think like once you're at the level you're at and you have the agency and you have the team and you have all these things, you start to mature more because that lower level when you were first starting, seeing everyone travel and shit, that's probably very enticing because you think like, oh yeah, I can just do this and then travel. And once you realize you've built a right agency, you have a team, you're feeding families, you're feeding clients, you're growing clients. The transition in mindset is like, shit, I not only want to preserve this, but I want to grow this thing. And like traveling and all this stuff is taking away from my ability to work on this thing that's changing the game and bringing a lot of enjoyment and is also setting me up for the future. So there is that mental shift. And I think it comes through maturity of understanding what the opportunity you actually have and realizing that even 5 years from now, you can change your entire life, and then you can travel more. But yeah,
man, love all that. So let's go over the last topic. So 2023, who's going to get crushed and who's going to be able to win and why?
2023, who's going to get crushed? Well,
exactly what we just
said. A lot of people are getting crushed anyways. 90% of 97, 98, I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number. They're already getting crushed and they've been getting crushed. And a lot of them are becoming extinct and they're expiring. And the reason why is they don't understand the concept of product market fit, understanding that like their ability to gain product market fit, which is like you having a legit demand for your services, and you understand that demand through client feedback, through your churn, through just organic word of mouth growth. People who don't focus on that initial vehicle, which is the most important thing, are never going to last. And it's not a one-time thing. It's not like a one-time we figured this out and it worked. Dude, in 2023, shit's changing. Like, and if you really want to be a beast, you got to be the person who's the one leading the pack. You're the one innovating. And then you realize 6 months later, everyone's copying you. It happens to us all the time. Like, we start and we've now taken the responsibility as the innovators, as the path movers in the road pavers. Like, we've already taken on that responsibility. I guess the main message here is 2023, just like 2022, those who do not focus on the customer product market fit, getting real feedback, understanding how good their product is through specific KPIs such as churn and just organic growth and word of mouth, you're gonna get wiped out. It's gonna be a stressful agency.
Yeah, you're gonna get worked. Now, here's a funny metric that I kind of realized we had a good product market fit, and as we're growing, there's still certain things that I'm manipulating to make sure it gets better. That's another thing. You can't ever be set on your product. You always have to be thinking about what can I do to make this better for the client? What do you guys want? Give them surveys, get feedback, hop on calls with them, make sure that they're good. Hey, what else could I help you with that you'd be stoked on? Right? Something like that. Now, one funny metric that's not even it's not a numbers metric because it's a little hard to calculate, is how many people have left and came back to your business because they couldn't afford it. Something happened. They didn't have money at the time. They left.
Yeah.
And then they came back to your business. That's happened to me in the past couple months with like 10 clients. They left and they hit me back up like, hey, we want to come back on, and be like, oh, well, the price rose,
Love it. So that's a good So that in itself is a feedback mechanism that, one, there is product market fit. Two, they've probably went to a lower alternative, cheaper alternative, tried another thing, saw this flashy thing over here, and they realized so many people suck. It's all marketing hook and flash on the front end, and then they have no, like, their ability to retain them is nil. So then they come crawling back in. Can we come back, Hayden? That's the main thing that happens to us is it's called indifference. They're with you, and then they see some other flashy thing, whether through Facebook ads or whatever.
Yep.
And they don't really understand that, like, all that is just one hell of a marketing hook just to get more appointments, and there's no back end delivery. It's like, and then they go through that, and that's a great experience for them as a business owner, realizing like, oh, that's not really what it is. And they come crawling back. Super awesome win. You should always celebrate all that throughout the team too, realizing like they're coming
we
back.
had some like gifts going around on Slack that were like,
Hell
she'll
yeah.
be back. Whenever somebody gets offboarded, there's always this like meme that gets thrown around that's like,
Yeah.
she'll be back. Cause it's happened so many times. It's like,
And that's
it
the
makes,
mindset. That's the mindset and confidence you want. Like, you want to truly think and believe like, yeah, like they're coming back for sure, because no one else is gonna help. Like, no one else can be able to deliver at the level we deliver. So they're coming back,
yeah. And yeah, I just love that little metric that's a little harder to define, but I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good
you're
one.
on the right, you're on the right path. When people are coming back after they've left for whatever reason, financial, they wanted to try something new. They saw a different agency that was doing like $500 a month. Can't knock them for wanting to try it. I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint if they can save money. We try to do it all the time with different softwares.
Yeah.
You know,
I kind of want to, since we were talking about product market fit in terms of 2023, I just wanted to quickly like break down what I find are like the four basically fundamental pillars of building a 7-figure agency, like a 7-figure profit agency.
let's hit it.
Because the niche you choose and where you go and everything that's the vehicle you choose. And so I think going into it, if you're someone who's like, I want to build a real 7-figure agency, meaning 7-figure income, then one, the industry you choose is so damn important. Like, you have to choose the right industry. And when it comes to industry, really we're looking at like, what's the TAM? How many people are there? Like, what does all that look like? What's the typical revenues in this type of industry? What's the savviness? What kind of budgets? Like, you got to understand that. Like, so if you specialize from day one saying, I'm going to figure out how to be the best attorney agency, it's going to be hard as shit. Tons of competition. But after 5 years of just going so deep, that's how you build your 8-figure agency, because attorneys will pay you fucking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month.
How many? Yeah. So your industry, chiropractors, but obviously more high end. How many chiropractors are there in the US alone?
I think for us in our viable sort of market, there's like 5,000. And then within medical clinics, there's like another, I'd say like 4,000 to 5,000.
So that's the thing in terms of competition, and what you need to look at is like, one, there's plenty to go around. Like, if you think you can't get a single client, that you can't get 10 clients in a specific niche because it's saturated, so to speak, usually the niches that are really good, they are saturated. There's tons of agencies in there. However, like, saturation is whatever. You can always, if you have a good product or service, you can always get through that. No one has all 5,000 of the chiropractors, right? If they did, I don't even know how much money they'd be making. It'd be stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
No, so yeah, it comes down to like, pick the right industry. So important. That's gonna,
Give them some industries for 2023 that you see.
I mean, for me, I like the competitive, highly saturated shit.
Dentists.
Dentist, dentist, roofing, all type of law, like attorneys, all that type of stuff. We're going down the list on all those sub niches. Another big one who I know pays money is all the dealerships, car dealerships. Like,
Yeah, that's a big one.
Month retainer. The important thing is, the reason why I like saturated niches is because when you pour all your time and energy, and you know the absolute foundation of it all is product market fit and building a super valuable service that you're super different, super strong, and great feedback, you're just gonna start to like take all those clients in, because at the end of the day, it's just it's good product. So I'd rather build great product in a super competitive industry, because 90% or more aren't focused on continuing to build a great product and continuing to innovate it. They're more focused on sales and shit. And so it's just over time, you're just going to out produce, out corner them. Word of mouth is going to spread, and then you're going to get all those clients. So number one, industry. Number two, product market fit is the number one thing you're looking at. This is through solid feedback. This is through your churn. This is through your organic growth. And this is also through your customer success metrics. Like, what are you judged on? What do they care about? They care about appointments. They care about revenue. What do those numbers look like? Like, what is your agency actually producing those numbers? And how are you going to continue to improve those numbers?
Yep.
100%. So that's all the focal point right there is industry, that down.
Quick definition of product market fit for anyone that doesn't know. Like, let's say they're a little new to the game. What does that mean?
I don't have the exact definition, but I'd say product market fit is when you have a service, right? For, in our case, a service that's in an industry that is basically starting to get more demand than you have supply, right?
Exactly.
Or demand is at least meeting supply, right? And your customer is saying, I enjoy the service. I like this. This is helping me. Or when a potential client sees your service, they're saying, wow,
I want that.
Yeah. I want that. That's different. It's product market fit. That's what that is. So you focus on that first. The second one is going to be, now you need efficient acquisition channels, right? You need to be able to acquire new clients efficiently.
So you have, going back over, you have industry 1, 2, product market fit. Number 3
is going to be efficient acquisition channels, being able to predictably get new clients at scale, right? Because now you have something great. Now you need something to be able to efficiently bring these people in, right? Through all your various different channels. So once you have a great product and then you have all these people that want it, what's the third one? If it's just you and 2 other people, and you have all these people wanting it, you have to build a team. Then you have to get good at recruiting, hiring, training, managing, growing, culture, vision, values, purpose, developing a legit fucking squad, a team.
That's when it gets hard. Yeah, this is when it gets tough.
That's the hardest. That's the hardest part.
You need people that are bought in on you, your ability to lead, and your vision for the company, and you need to instill those beliefs into your team. That's the only way it's going to happen. You could have the smartest person in the world, but if they don't believe in what you're doing, they have no reason being on your team. I'd rather have someone that has less skills, that truly believes and is like, I want to work for you forever. Like, I believe in what this company is doing. Let's fucking get after it. Rather than someone that comes in that's smart as shit and is just like, oh, it's just a paycheck, right? Get that person out of your company right away.
Or you have a smart person, but your training
is ass. Yeah.
They have no idea like where to prioritize most of their energy, because there's no goals and KPIs. There's no consistent follow-up and training. There's no strategic managing on departments and KPIs to meet the overall goals. Everything becomes very structured, numerical, data-driven. everyone's compensated on KPI. And you create a growth culture is what we call it. Growth culture is like, and I take this from Judge Graham, but it's asking you the question, where's the client's money? Where's the company's money? And where's my money? We're always focused on growth in all three of those departments. And it's all through setting goals, setting KPIs. There's no emotions here. It's all data driven and moving those numbers north.
Yep. I have a cool KPI. So wait, you got to 1, 2, 3. Is there a fourth one, or is it just those 3
Fourth
points?
was team. Fourth was team. So you have
Oh
industry,
yeah, team.
product market fit, acquisition, distribution, ability to scale, and then building a team, which is knowing how to recruit, hire, train, manage, grow, vision, purpose, values, being able to really just put a huge importance on culture. Who's your company? What's your guys' vibe? You know?
Yeah. And let's end this with some proof just for everyone watching. So I want to go over my biggest success story, and then you can mention one of yours.
Okay.
One of the coolest pieces of feedback, I sent it to you after I got it because I was just like insanely amazed at like what we're able to do for a business. One of our clients in Ohio, it's a med spa. I'm not going to mention his name, but I sent Stevie the video. I can even put the video clip in here when we edit it if you want. We made them $1.4 million just off of the leads that we brought them in 2 years' time working with us. So there's some pretty cool metrics in terms of retention. They've been with us for 2 years, and they made 1.4 million just off the leads that we brought them, which is just insane, right?
Yeah,
it's one of the craziest testimonials I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. Shoot, for us, one that comes right to the top of my head is when one of our bigger sort of partnerships, we were going through this issue of like some of the clients complaining, et cetera, et cetera. And through that, we went in this huge, massive deep dive on what the KPIs look like, what the ROIs were, what the return on investments were, and revenue and all that. And at the end of the day, what we realized is that this type of clientele and the people who were working to both help, we were averaging, it was a 330% return on investment average throughout this client that thought like the whole world was falling down. You know, I was like, we just had a revert. They were emotional. And that's what really started us to go super deep into all the data. And then once we presented the data, they were like, holy shit. And then their entire organization changed. And this is a big company. This is a big company. This is like 50 employee company. This is not small, huge company. And they looked at it and they were like, we are so sorry. Like our whole account management model is broken and people are reacting off emotions and what he and she says and what the client feels. And we're not data driven. And we literally, through that 3-week, 4-week, just intense deep dive, not only saved everyone and got everyone to where they need to be mentally, but their entire organization and the entire client success department and account management totally leveled up how they do things now. And we were obviously, you know, thanked for that very well. And a lot of people came back on and it was all like he, she. So that was a big one. That was like,
that's huge. That's
yeah.
huge. And like, that comes down to one, transparency. But number 2 is like knowing your numbers. If you don't provide your clients with an accurate way to establish how much money you're making for them, then what you're doing is no value whatsoever. So like think about hiring, let's just say an SEO company that ranks companies on Google. If you can't show them that they're actually ranking in the top and they can't actually search it themselves, they're going to leave you, right? If I can't show my clients that we actually made them $10,000 in the first month, like, what are you doing? Like, you don't want to come to them with any metrics, like whatsoever. You need to be meeting with them every 2 weeks, every week, going over this person bought what. And this is an account manager role, but hey, we had these people come in. What did they buy? How much did they buy for it? Let's update the numbers together. Great. We're looking at this point. We know exactly where we are on return on investment. Huge.
Huge.
That and communication.
And
yeah.
to take it a step further, knowing those numbers, and when you do that, and let's just say you have strategic partnerships and you're doing this and that, those numbers also need to be CC'd to other parties who are also heavily invested in this business.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Because that's where the he say, she say, all this stuff is there. And then you just spread the facts everywhere. Spread the facts everywhere, since everyone's interests are on all these clients and where they're headed. And so
I'm gonna do that. That's a good point, because I work with a big med spa chain, and there's 2 other agency partners. We have a bulk of them. The other agency partners are pretty new. They have like 1 or 2 clients. But I'm gonna start CCing the owner and everyone on all the numbers.
Always CC owners, execs, account managements, all these people who are just as invested as you. You can't rely on client to tell coach, these are the numbers. No, most of them, a lot of people go off of emotion. You don't, a lot of people are emotional. And so just, I don't know, that's future step for most people, but just, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd like to add to a point, if ever there's something in question with the client, whether it's results, whether it's their front desk, if you're doing standard lead generation, whatever it is, address the issue and be proactive and come up with a solution. So for example, I had a sales problem with one of my big clients. They were just having a hard time selling, and I tried to figure out what the problem actually was. So I dove deep on like 2 weeks in a row, where we met like a couple of times a week every day with their actual internal team, who was selling, who was doing the lead follow-up, who was getting the booked appointments, because we don't do full done for you system for every client, right? Some clients have the staff to actually do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out through trial and error, right, and diving in deep, what the issues were. We addressed them, did some training on it, and completely turned around the business just by being proactive and saying, well, figure it out yourself. No, like, they're paying us money. Let's help them with the issue that they have, and they're going to thank us for it forever,
Yeah. And that's how you can overall just increase your offering through consistent pain points, when you realize, oh shoot, is this where this is a big enough problem to where we need to now, as a team, build a product or a service to now address this, which then provides more value, right? Which can increase your price point, which then overall increases churn, right? In a sales aspect, right? Like, so that's just it's innovating and adding on to service delivery when it's becoming more of an occurrence and it's more of a demand.
Right. Well, Stevie, do you have anything else that you want to push forth? I know we're kind of up on time here.
Yeah. So I think overall, leave any sort of questions in the comments, things like that. We might be doing this maybe once or twice a month, who knows, but put in the comments what topics you'd want us to talk about, any feedback or anything you took away from this. Obviously, Hayden runs a multi-6-figure agency that's profit, real take home. I run a multi-mid 7-figure agency with, multi 7-figure profit. So we have a range here, right? We've all been through this game. We're years in this game. Most people on YouTube are nowhere even close to what we're talking about, or have the proof to back it within team numbers, everything. And so if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. Maybe we can cover them on a next sort of podcast. If this is a podcast.
Yeah. I think we have to put this on other platforms for it to be a podcast.
Yeah.
A YouTube Zoom. But yeah, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like Stevie said, leave some comments below. Let us know what you want us to chat about next time. And we'll see you guys on the next one.